What's up, heroes? My name is Sylarclone, and today we are going to be building a new character in KOTOR. This type of character has been requested several times in the comments section of several videos of mine, and it is finally time to make it. Today we're going to be making a Gunslinger. That's right, if it goes pew pew, it's the right thing for you. That's going to be the catchphrase for this entire character, because the premise is really straightforward. Only use ranged weapons. I'm going to keep it, though, one step further of blasters only. So no swords, no batons, and especially no lightsabers. We're going to see if we can get through to the end with no lightsaber. It's going to be tough, it's going to be tempting, but I can stay strong and resist the temptation. Only aiming for right between the eyes at a distance. Do not want to get up close and personal. Now, disclaimer. I'm not claiming this is the best or only Gunslinger build. I know there are several others out there, and some of you might disagree with my build choices and think there are other ways to improve. That being said, you are always more than welcome to discuss builds in the comment section down below. It's always a lot of fun to communicate with you guys and to see your reasoning for why you build characters certain ways. But please be nice down there. Constructive criticism only. Don't say it's bad. We're playing this game for fun. We're not looking for an optimal build, especially with something like this. The goal is to kind of get to the end and not try to beat it as quickly as possible. So without further ado, let's get started. First up is going to be our class. At first, I was quite torn as to which class this type of character would end up being. I'm still trying to do that whole roleplay thing. That's what we're wanting to do here. It is a role-playing game. At first I went soldier. That is the obvious choice. We're doing something purely combat-oriented. Soldier, that's it. End of discussion. But that little voice in the back of my head went, Sylar, think about this for a little bit. I went, okay. So I thought about it for a bit and decided we are going to go with a scoundrel build on this guy. Now, stay tuned. You're probably wondering why in Duxon's third moon, Sylar, are you choosing scoundrel? Stick around until we get down to the Feats section of the video, because I'm going to go into a little bit more with why I chose scoundrel. So we're going to go ahead, get started. Portrait is the easy one. Going to go with this guy right here, but of course, don't have to. Can do whatever one you want. Whichever portrait feels like it is the best for you. I always kind of go with this guy. Now we're going to get into our attributes. That is going to be the big thing. I'm sure you guys are wondering, what attributes would I go for a gunslinger? So let me show you what type of attributes that I feel this character is going to go with. Alright, so rather than just clicking through on everything, I'm going to just jump right into showing you what attributes I went with. And I'll go into a little bit more of a detailed reasoning in just a moment here. You all are probably wondering, I usually recommend going a 10 in all attributes right away for the very start. If you're wanting a more detailed reason as to why, I'm going to leave the links to my previous character creation tips videos in the description down below. Those go a little bit more into detail as to why. But for this guy, we're going to do things a bit different. We're going to go 8, 16, 14, 8, 15, 14. So let me explain why, because I know this certainly looks very, very weird. So our strength, we're going to remain at 8, because we're not using it. We're not using any hand weapons. We're not using swords, lightsabers, or batons. We're focusing on the pew-pews. So I'm never going to use this ability, or this attribute, I should say. It makes no sense to waste any points into it, because our dexterity, or for just short, dex, on the other hand, this is what we're going to heavily rely on during this playthrough, because it determines our chance to hit with the ranged weapons. This helps us with the pew-pew. It also helps us with our defense rating. Now, quick aside, what is a defense rating? Essentially, it's how difficult it is for an enemy to hit your character, and it's actually quite easy to calculate it. If you're wanting a little bit more of a detailed explanation as to how to go over our defense rating, let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see a video kind of explaining how the defense rating works. So simply, here, we're going to put it up on the screen so you can follow along at home. Every character gets a defense rating of base of 10. So you get a flat 10 no matter what. But then it also gets increased by your dexterity modifier So this 3 that's right up there, that +3 modifier, gets added to my defense rating. So essentially, this Gunslinger right now has a 13 defense rating. That's not too bad. But it also increases with our bonuses to armor, or there's some passive feats that allow us to increase that as well. But again, if you want to see a little more of a detailed explanation and kind of showing more examples, let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do a video explaining defense rating. So this is going to be really good for us. Like I was saying, Dex is our main bread and butter because it's going to increase not only our chance to hit, but also the bonus damage that we get. So a higher dexterity means we won't have a stormtrooper accuracy here, so we don't want anything like that. Constitution, or our health, going to be at 14. Higher constitution, more health per level up. Sure, we're going to be staying from the back, and we're going to have a high defense rating, so it's going to be hard to hit. But on the off chance that we do get hit, I would like to be able to survive it. That's essentially it. I don't want to get one shot to be sent so far down they have to really backtrack. Intelligence remains untouched. I didn't really want to focus too much on skills, which is why I didn't pick our scout class. Scouts tend to rely a little bit more on their skills in the overworld, so like getting into computers, picking up mines, that sort of thing. But for this, I didn't necessarily want to do that, so I don't want to boost any points into that. I just kind of want the bare minimum, I should say, upon level up. Wisdom we have at 15, because we're going to be using quite a few force powers. By having a higher wisdom, it makes it harder for enemies to resist our force powers, and I'll explain in just a moment why it's 15 and not an even number like 14 or 16. Give me just one moment with that, because we do have to go over our charisma. One of Scoundrel's class skills is going to be Persuade, and that's something I really kind of want to take advantage of during this playthrough, because there are dialogue options where you can get more information by using your Persuade skill. Higher charisma makes something like that a little easier to be complete. I'll be able to be successful, I should say, in my certain attacks. And you could argue that yes, Scout also has that as an ability too, but I didn't want any of the other skills that a Scout offers as well. So as to why I have my wisdom at 15 here, because that's probably the really weird part of all of this. So throughout the game, there are 5 opportunities for you to level up your attributes. And this happens at every 4 levels. So my next one will be at level 4, then 8, 12, 16, and 20. And every time, I'm going to be adding a point into wisdom, because that's 5 points. If wisdom was at a even number like 14 or 16, then I just have a random point sitting around. And you could argue, certainly I could bring my wisdom up to get that extra boost, because every 2 levels you get a +1 modifier to whatever attribute that is. So for dexterity, for example, seeing as I went to 15, it just went from 3 down to 2. So every 2 gives you that increase. Now, the reason I didn't put it into wisdom right away is because I really want to rely on my dex. Like I said, it helps with my chance to hit with blasters, and it gives me a boost to my damage. That I'm going to take advantage of early on. I don't have force powers to use for wisdom right away, so I can wait to level that up just a little bit, because it's not as needed right away. So that's why it's set up a little bit, because once we get the force powers, we're going to rely on the fact that we need these to hit, and I'm going to explain why here as we get to our skills. Now, I know I just said I was going to explain as to why I'm going to be using force powers in the skills. I got a little ahead of myself. I meant my feats, but here for our skills, like I said earlier, we want to take advantage of our Persuade, so I'm going to put our maximum 4 points into that right away. I'm also going to want to be using our security skill. Makes it easier to get into doors and plastic cover containers, just to be able to get items that are inside. Next, I'm going to split between awareness and demolitions. I'm not going to rely too heavily on those. Like I said, Persuade and security are going to be my big ones, but awareness allows me to see mines and even invisible enemies. Demolitions allows me to pick up mines that I could sell for credits later on down the road. Now, as we get into our feats, I'll explain why I wanted to use Scoundrel and why force powers are going to be such a big part of the game. Because I said I wanted to use Scoundrel for a reason. Because Scoundrels have a passive feat of Sneak Attack that levels up every time. So Sneak Attack adds bonus damage to attacks when they can't respond to me. So this works when targets are attacked from behind, against targets who are stunned or immobilized, and any attacks that are made from stealth mode. Well, I'm not going to be using stealth mode, so what am I really focusing on? Well, it's going to be one of those. We have force powers that allow us to stun or fear enemies. We're going to take advantage of that. So we're going to use that. We want the higher force powers and the higher wisdom in order for them to work successfully. Otherwise, we're not going to get this bonus damage. And that bonus damage, like I said, does increase as time goes on. It might seem like a little bit, but a little damage goes a long way, especially with repeated attacks. We also have a passive ability, Scoundrel's Luck, which adds +2 to our defense rating at level 1 and increases as time goes on. So right now we have a defense rating of 15 and we have no armor. It's going to make us a little harder to hit, especially once we put the armor on. Now, as in terms of feats that we really want to focus on, right now we're going to certainly want to focus mostly on getting 2-weapon fighting at some point in time. That's going to be the big one. We want the dual blaster pistols, not just one. Let's increase our damage. I also am going to want Rapid Shot. It's going to be very similar to Flurry. If you want to know how these different types of attacks work, I'll also leave the link to my combat tips in the description down below as well. That'll go into it a little bit more. Another one I'll want to focus on then is Toughness. Again, more health. That's always going to be a good thing, because if I'm getting hit, I want to be able to survive it. But right away in the early game, we're going to end up going with our blaster pistol focus, just to get that +1 bonus. Again, might not seem like a lot, but early on when our health is really low, it's certainly going to help. And I don't want to go into blaster rifles or heavy weapons. I kind of want to do with just the pistols. That seems like more of a fun way of doing this, along with getting it started. So if we see here, I have a low health, so a +1 could be the difference between surviving with 1 HP or just straight up being dead. Now we're gonna go with our tried and true name. This is always probably the hardest part of it, but not for me. Gonna go with the tried and true. And lastly, we're gonna go over the alignment that we're gonna do. My thought is going to be light side. Focus light side. I feel we have the better powers for it, just to be able to stun. We can have some heals to it as well. So I want to focus on stun, destroy droid, along with master speed to get an extra boost to my attack, along with it will boost my defense rating later on down the road as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and we will see how this character works out when we hit the play button next time. I'm going to end the video here. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. I'm sure there are some things I might have overlooked, or some improvements you heroes might suggest as well. I'm always open to ideas, and again, discussions are always fun to have with you guys. But, as always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to use the force to push that like button down below. If you're new to the channel, or if you haven't done so already, make sure to unleash your power by hitting the subscribe button down below today as well, along with ringing that notification bell to be updated as to when new videos do come out. And I will see all you heroes in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.